We will be joined by past guests, public officials, and other special people who will join in our celebration by sharing their thoughts about the legacy of the Ask Rayceen show. And as we bring on our guests, we want to congratulate Rayceen Pendarvis on being named local hero.
Oh my goodness, it's such
There
an
we
honor.
go. Yes, Rayceen, local hero.
Oh, I'm
This is
so moved.
everything.
And I have my own personal copy on newsstand.
Yes.
And then free. You have till Friday of this week, which is the week of October the 25th. You have this Friday to get your personal copy. If you get a copy, take a picture with it and tag me in it or send it to me and let me know you got your own personal copy and I'll autograph it for you.
Yes, so this is such a huge deal. So everybody go and pick up your copies of this week's edition of the Washington Blade and catch Rayceen on the front cover. She's the local hero of DC.
Local.
Yes. So
able to lead tall buildings in a single bound.
Yes. We want, of course, we thank Hugh Clark. We thank Hugh Clark so much for the cover photo and Jeff Salmore for the article photo. And so you can go and check out the wonderful article that is there as well and get into it. It's a great read, a great read. Now to our guests have just joined us. So first up, we want to welcome our newly elected. Oh, actually, no, that person is not here. So let's move on.
Popping in and popping out.
Yes. So let us move on to our newly elected member of the DC State Board of Education, representing Ward 7, Eboni-Rose Thompson. Hey, Ebony.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here with us. And thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you for yours. I had to come because I remember when I was running, this is one of the first interviews I did.
Oh.
And my sister, who was functioning as my campaign manager, who's much more fabulous than I, she saw the invite come through and she said, oh, we have to do this. And I said, well, what is this? And she was like, you don't know about Ask Rayceen? And so Google, the internet is undefeated. And I go in and I start looking, and I was like, yes, we have to do this. And so I would like to just say thank you. Thank you for the invite. Thank you for using your platform so well. I have been just truly impressed by all you've been able to do. I'm truly impressed by your generosity. And I would like to attribute some of my newly electedness to that generosity as well. So thank you for that.
Certainly. Thank you. Up next, we have from Makerslab and Black in Space, Lee Perine. Hey, Lee.
Hey, what's up? Lee Levingston Perine, the founder of Black in Space, formerly Makerslab. I'm also known as Commander Lee. I also like to introduce myself as a really big fan of Rayceen. So just super honored to be here tonight. And I'm also an emerging filmmaker, actually making a documentary about Sylvester, which Rayceen is in, and you'll see Sylvester behind me. So just so happy I can be here. Rayceen is one of my biggest inspirations. She's the mother of the mothership for Black in Space, and just really special to us.
Yes, the mother of the mothership. I love that. And we also have with us Danielle Reed. Hey, Danielle.
Hey, how are you? I'm for those of you I haven't met yet, I am Danielle Reed. I'm the two-time winner of the Ask Rayceen Slam, and I've been to any number of iterations of the Ask Rayceen show, and I'm just really happy to be here and to talk with you all this evening and sort of relive my experiences with the show, and I'm just happy. It's been a good week.
Awesome. And I think I just saw Lorie come in. Hey, Lorie.
Yes.
Oh, you're on mute.
I am on mute. How about that? How are you? Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hey, Mother. Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
I am Lorie Bovane. I have been a pseudo photographer for Miss Rayceen. I have brought her some sweet treats because I also bake. but collectively, mostly photography. I've had the honor of being able to just take various pictures of all of the events that I've been able to participate in and had an amazing time. So I am definitely glad to be here.
Thank you, and thank you for the support that you've given the show for
Thank
so long. And before we get into voting info with Claire, let's then get into tonight's discussion topic. We know some of our guests may need to log out or anything, so if you want to at this point, then go ahead. But after that, we're just gonna get into it, okay? So everyone's good, everyone's great, perfect. Now we want to welcome a familiar face to the series, and that is Claire from HeadCount. Volunteers with HeadCount registered voters at the Ask Rayceen show starting in 2016. Claire, please let the viewers know what they need to know about being vote ready for this year's general election.
Thank you, Krylios. And depending on where you live, you may or may not have an election. So I encourage everyone to go to headcount.org/state for all of that information. But I want to shout out to Virginia residents who do have an election actually this Tuesday. So in a little over a week, you'll have an election. You can go and vote in person. But I want to remind everyone or put it on your radar that it's your last day to early vote this Saturday. So if you don't think you can make it on Tuesday, make a plan to do it before then, sometime between now and Saturday. For anybody either in Virginia who needs voter information on what you're, making your plan for this election, or if you're outside of Virginia, you want to learn more, you want to register to vote, check your registration status or update your registration status, just head on to our website, headcount.org. You can update your registration, get a ton of information, get everything you need. And whenever we are in person at an Ask Rayceen show, you will find us there as well. Thank you.
Of course. And of course, you can always text Team Rayceen to 40649. Once again, that is 40649 to make sure everything, pledge to vote, check your status, and register to vote. Thank you so much, Claire. So this evening's topic is venues, entrances, and production challenges. Guests, you are all encouraged to ask questions as we go along. First, we will take a moment to thank The Corner at Whitman Walker, where we recorded our footage for the 10th and final season of the Ask Rayceen show. Considering that another potential venue told us we needed $1 million of insurance to record there, we were very appreciative of being accommodated by The Corner. Rayceen, what would you like to say to Ruth, Saul, and Paula?
To all three of them, and to The Corner and the staff at Whitman Walker, thank you for being a light. Thank you for being a vessel. Thank you for believing in our mission to uplift our community, motivate others, and be a safe space. And The Corner has been a safe space in the DMV area since its conception. And I cannot believe, I am so overwhelmed. And I can't believe that they just opened their doors and opened their hearts and allowed us to come in. And they are a shining example of what safe spaces are all about in America. So thank you. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Saul. And thank you, Paula.
Thank you so much. We were able to go every month, to do the Ask Rayceen show, to film, to record, do all the things we had to do to make sure that we could get the show on the road. And we didn't have to have $1 million in insurance. So, honey, that was something else. So we are so, so thankful to The Corner, because our other options, it was not giving at all. So now, Rayceen, let's bring it all the way back to MLK Library. The Ask Rayceen show was there from 2012, 2013, and again in 2016. This was long before its recent renovation. So back then, the space for events was a dark room, down a maze of corridors in a basement of the building. Talk to us about the space and about how some people seem to think that the show took place somewhere in a book aisle rather than an auditorium.
I mean, it was an interesting place to be. It was full of history, drama, intrigue, and but I love the fact that soon as you would come onto the floor where we were in the auditorium, even though it was dark, the music was your guiding light. it brought you in. You could hear the music. And as soon as you heard the music, you just would follow the maze until the music got louder and louder. And then it got brighter and brighter. And then you were introduced to the Ask Rayceen experience.
Yes. I love that. I love that. And I know that after that, it was Live Nightclub. We moved on to Live Nightclub. Talk to us. You know, Zar says it all the time. I've heard you mention it before. The lighting situation at Live, you know, especially after the stage light stopped working at some point in 2015. Oh, Danielle, you remember that?
The first slam that I won was actually at Live.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it used to kind of freak me out a little bit that in addition to the lighting situation, that directly across from the stage, there was a mirror. So you could see yourself while you were look at while you were on stage. It was, yeah.
Rayceen, how was Live for you?
All I can say, the shade of it all. And I'm gonna leave.
It was a situation. We'll just leave it there. It was a situation.
Yes. And finally, let's talk about interrupted entrances. Baby, the girls would love to interrupt an entrance. So let's talk about how at Live, when you would descend the staircase to make your grand entrance, people would stop you and try to have conversations as you were descending down the stairs. What's all that about?
They would hear the intro music. They know that most of the time they would be late, because if you were late at 7 o'clock, you should have been there early. So if you saw me getting ready and you heard my intro music, you knew it was showtime. And people would want to hold a full conversation, stop me midway, and sometimes pull me back. Someone would be a little intoxicated, and they would pull me back.
I heard that one time it was an intoxicated family member of a performer.
Yes, and wanted to have a full conversation, and we had to literally, security and a few of the team had to kind of smooth over some things, and just I had to give that person a hug and say, baby, it's gonna be all right. Go have a seat in the back and enjoy the show.
And I know that this even happened at HRC when you were right by the double doors. People would try to cut, despite our best efforts, people would still try to come and get in the way when you were trying to get into the mood right outside those HRC double doors.
We would block the doors with banners. We would use like movie rope, and people would move it aside and see me and just rush over and want to hug me. Oh, I love you, Rayceen. And I'll be, I love you too. I gotta go. Bam. So sometimes it would throw you off a little bit, and then I would have to recollapse, regroup, and then showtime.
Yes, because the show must go on. The show must go on. So let's discuss our vendors. We love the vendors. We've always opened up a space to them. But I know sometimes it was a challenge for Zar, because some of them would often show up late or cancel at the last minute, or sometimes even arrive unannounced, like just out of nowhere. How was that crazy for you?
It was crazy, because some would show up and it was like you didn't okay your space, because Zar is so meticulous about making sure that your table is ready, your name is on your table, your area, your table number 1, table number 4, and he is so meticulous about that. And he had a system, and he was like, he had a map, he had a system, everything was drawn out, and if you were not on that system, you just had to wait until we had a breather, and then he would find the table. He would always make sure he would find a table and make sure he would escort you somewhere. And if you didn't have a prime spot, then shame on you.
Baby. Okay, so we want to throw it out to anyone. Does any one of our guests have a question for Rayceen?
I have a question, if that's all right.
Go ahead, Lee.
Hey, Rayceen. So having done the show for like 10 years and created other space for folks, and as an event producer myself, what advice do you have for this next group of folks, especially as the world is opening up, who are considering creating space for queer and trans folks like ourselves? What advice would you give them? Because it's not easy, but we definitely need the work to happen.
It's never easy. And what you do is so amazing. We did it with no budget, very little sponsorship, and then we obtained sponsorship, which, because of Zar, allowed us to do the things we need to do. But you have to just stay vigilant. You have to believe in the process. And sometimes you have to create a team around you, and you have to trust that team. Each member has a job, and you have to trust that. And that's what we do. Czar is Czar, Krylios is Krylios, Nikki is Nikki. Everybody has a lane. And sometimes when we cross it, we have to push them out and say, get out of my lane, get out of my way, and respect everybody's lane and position. And that's what we do. And it's never easy. You're going to pull teeth, pull hair, but you just have to love each other and understand the purpose of why you're doing it.
Certainly. And Rayceen, let me ask you, what is a favorite memory you have of the sexy season finale?
I would say all of them, but because sometimes they would get me to do things that I would not. Didn't feel kind of comfortable body-wise. You know, I wasn't that size 9 and I wasn't stopping traffic, but you know, I had to bring it on like Lizzo, baby. And let you know, honey, that it only gets better. And so, but actually, I am doing on the season finale a little burlesque tribute to my days of performing with Gypsy Rose Lee. So everybody must see the final episode of the Ask Rayceen show, because actually that is my favorite. And I thank our wonderful Gigi Holiday for helping me and guiding me through that and loaning me a few little props.
Certainly. That will be such a treat to catch on the season finale. So, of course, speaking of the Ask Rayceen show, we want to let everyone know that please visit AskRayceen.com to watch the penultimate edition of the Ask Rayceen show, as well as our spring, summer, and September editions. And then the salaciously sexy series finale of the Ask Rayceen show will premiere on November 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So for more information about Rayceen Pendarvis, you can visit Rayceen.com for all of that, as well as you can follow Team Rayceen on social media and subscribe to the Team Rayceen YouTube channel. I think Lorie has a question. Do you have a question, Lorie?
I do, Queen Mother. So now from the last 10 years, of course, you've been able to share all kinds of information and open doors for various insights of different things. Is there anything within your purview that you didn't feel like you were able to accomplish that you will be working on after the show is over?
Oh my God. We didn't get the goodbye like we should have. Having that live experience and having that full year of saying goodbye to everyone and that live realm would have been so perfect of saying that final goodbye. Mm-hmm. But then having, in the midst of what we dealt with and expanding the Team Rayceen umbrella was such a joy to go into producing a music video with Bernard Bird and the conceptualizing that whole format and having myself, Krylios, and the House of Pendarvis, all of us in there and celebrating ballroom. That was a wonderful blessing within everything. The documentary with Lee coming up is such a blessing. So all the things I wasn't able to do because the Ask Rayceen show is closing has now allowed Team Rayceen Productions to take full bloom. And here we are. So get ready for so much more.
That's amazing. That's going to be a great venue.
Certainly. I love that. Thank you all, our guests, for joining us this evening. As usual, for more information about Rayceen Pendarvis, you can go to Rayceen.com and make sure that you follow us on all forms of social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Team Rayceen. Thank you all so much. And most of all, to our guests, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. God bless.